Hello everyone, this is part 4 of how to make Plants vs. Zombies in Scratch. In this video, I'll be adding the sunflower plant and a new background, and I'll also create a layering system to order our sprites and more. If you haven't seen parts 1, 2, or 3 yet, check them out, links are in the description below. But before we begin, if you want to learn how to make and publish your own awesome web games, then check out my course on my website, Fuelvin Academy. Right now, I'm offering a huge 70% discount on my course for a limited time, so be sure to enroll and join the awesome community of learners before the time runs out. Link is in the description below. But anyways, let's get started. So currently, we have our pea shooter plant over here, which we can collect sun falling from the sky and eventually purchase. Just like so. And we can place it anywhere on the map, and it can shoot at zombies. And in the last video, we made it so that we can place as many pea shooters as we want, and we can have as many zombies on the screen at once. But now we want more ways to get sun, not just by collecting sun falling from the sky. So to do so, let's add a new plant, the sunflower. So first things first, be sure to go to my starter project and go to the plant sprite and drag over the sunflower costume inside of your backpack. And also go to your stage, go to backdrops, and drag the second backdrop into your backpack as well. We'll be using that later in the video. So now back inside of our project, I'm going to go to costumes, and I'm going to open up our backpack and drag the sunflower costume inside of here. Alright, now we have our sunflower, and I'm also going to go to stage and then drag our new lawn backdrop inside of here. Alright. And for now, I'm going to go back to the first backdrop. Okay, so now if we go inside of our pea shooter sprite, we now have a new costume, which is going to be our sunflower. And I'm going to rename this sprite to plants, so it's a bit more accurate, since we also have our sunflower. And I'm going to also go to our pea shooter icon and rename this to plant icon. Okay. And I'm going to drag this over here. So now to add our sunflower into the game, we have to first add a sunflower icon, just like our pea shooter icon over here. So I'm going to go to our sunflower, and then I'm going to select the whole thing and copy it, so Control-C. And then I'm going to go inside of our plant icon and go over here, right-click, duplicate, and I'll call this sunflower. And then I'm going to replace the pea shooter image with the sunflower image. So I'm going to select all of this, just like this, and then hold Shift, and then click this white area. So now I'm only selecting this pea shooter, and then I'm going to click Backspace to remove it, and then I'm going to press Control-V to paste our sunflower right in the center over here. Awesome. Now I'm going to select the text tool and change this to 50, because I'm going to make the sunflower cost 50 sun. So right over here. Alright, so now we want to edit our code to make it so that we have both the sunflower icon and the pea shooter icon. So to do so, we have to create some clones. So I'm going to go to my block and create a new block, and I'll call this add plant. And I'm going to add 2 new inputs. And for the first one, I'm going to call it name. And the second one, I'm going to call it cost. And I'm going to click OK. All right. And now under this block over here, we want to go to Control, and we want to create a clone of myself. So this is going to create a clone of this icon. And we also want to make sure that it switches to the correct costume. So I'm going to go to looks and then drag a switch costume to right over here. And then I'm going to drag the name inside of here. And then I'm going to go to motion and drag a change X by block, put it after, and I'll just say change X by something like 40. All right. And now since we're using clones, we now want to take this out and drag that under a when I start as a clone. And I'm going to go to looks and hide the original sprite, and then show the clones, just like so. All right. And now under when the flag is clicked, we want to create our plant icons. So let's go to My Blocks and then drag and add plant. And I'm going to first add the sunflower icon. So I'm going to type in sunflower and make sure this name is exactly the same as your name of the sunflower costume. So make sure it's the exact same as what you type in here, since we're switching costume to the name. And I'm going to set its cost to 50. All right, now I'm going to add one more plant, and the second one is going to be the pea shooter. So again, this name has to be the exact same as the name of your pea shooter icon costume. So mine is pea shooter just like that, and this name should be the exact same. All right, and for the cost, I'll make it 100. Okay, so now if we just try it out, as you can see, we have two new icons. Awesome. We have the sunflower and the pea shooter. And they both work just like so. But now I want to make it so that we can purchase the sunflower if we have 50 sun. And currently we do. But as you can see, we're unable to purchase the sunflower. And that's because inside of the code, we always check if we have at least 100 sun. But this is only for the pea shooter, so we want to make it so that it works with any plant icon. So to do so, let's go to variables, and I'm going to create a new list. And I'll call this plant names. And then I'll select for the sprite only and click OK. And I'll also create another list. I'll call this plant costs. And then select for the sprite only and click OK. All right. And now under this add plant block, I am going to add the name to plant names and also add the cost to plant costs. And under the when flag clicked, I'm going to delete all of plant names and also delete all of plant costs. So now if I just show these two lists, then once we click on the flag, as you can see, we have our sunflower and pea shooter, and also the cost of the sunflower and the cost of the pea shooter. So now to get the cost of the plant, we can just do item number of, go to looks, costume number in plant names, and then go to variables and drag an item of block, and drag this inside of the item of block, and change this to plant costs. And make sure to change this to costume name. So right now our costume name is pea shooter. So we are first going to get the item number of pea shooter in plant names, and that's going to be item number 2. So this returns 2. And after that, we are going to get item 2 of plant costs, which is 100, as you can see over here. And the same is going to work for the sunflower. So now let's drag this inside of here, and I'm going to right click duplicate and drag this inside of here, and go to operators, grab it times, and times -1, because we are reducing our money. Just like that. So now to test it out, if we just set our sun to, let's say, 1000, then our sunflowers should cost 50. As you can see, it goes down to 950, and our pea shooters should cost 100. As you can see, it goes down to 850. Now the next thing we want to add is that we want to actually place down a sunflower, because currently, as you can see, we are placing down pea shooters still. So to fix that, we have to tell our plant sprite what plant we are exactly placing down. So inside of the plant icon sprite, instead of setting placing plant to yes once we buy a plant, let's actually give the name of the plant that we bought inside of the variable. So I'm going to go to looks and then drag costume name inside of set placing plant. And I'm actually going to go to variables and rename the placing plant variable, because I think a name like selected plant is a better name. So now if I just show the selected plant variable, if we click on the sunflower, then selected plant is sunflower. And if we click on pea shooter, then selected plant is now pea shooter. Awesome. But now we want to fix a few things. So first off, inside of the plant sprite, we are no longer setting selected plant to yes, because now we're just setting selected plant to the plant name. So instead of this, we want to go to operators, drag a not, and check if not selected plant equals to no. So if a plant is currently selected, then we want to do stuff. So we want to go inside of our code and find all cases where we have selected plant equals to yes. So for example, right here, and we want to change it to not selected plant equals to no. Just like that. All right, let's see if we say that anywhere else. Okay, I think we're fine in this sprite. Let's check the grid position sprite. And we have it in here. So we want if not selected plant equals to no. And that should be it. So now if we just try it out, then our plants should be able to be placed just like normal. Okay, so now let's actually make it change to the sunflower costume. So inside of the plant sprite, let's go up to if the clone type is pre-plant, then we want to go to looks and we want to switch costume to go to variables, the selected plant, just like that. And also, if the clone type is equal to plant, we want to switch costume over here to the selected plant, just like that. So now if we just click on the sunflower, then we have a sunflower. And if we click on the pea shooter, we still have a pea shooter, just like that. Cool. Now one thing though, is that the sunflowers aren't actually producing sun. And also, if a zombie comes, then the sunflower is going to probably start shooting at the zombie just like that, which is definitely not what we want. So to fix this, let's go inside of the code where we check if the clone type is equal to plant. And inside of here, let me just drag this to a new area. Currently, what we do is that we make all plants shoot no matter what, but we only want the pea shooters to shoot. So let's go to control, grab an if else, drag this part inside of the if, drag this back, and check if, go to looks, the costume name is equal to the pea shooter costume name. So mine is just called pea shooter, just like that. So if costume name is equal to pea shooter, then we want the pea shooter to shoot. Else, let's right click duplicate. I'm going to take all of this out. Let's check if costume name is equal to sunflower. Make sure it's spelled the exact same. So mine is spelled with a capital S. Then we want to do something else. So I'm going to first make the zombies spawn way faster. So I'm going to go to the zombie sprite and I'll make it wait 0 seconds. Okay, now let's try it out. Now a zombie should immediately spawn. And the pea shooters will shoot, but the sunflowers will not. Just like that. Cool. So now the plants are starting to work a bit better. Now what we want the sunflowers to do is to produce sun. So let's go to our plant sprite and write the code inside of here. So first off, I'm going to go to control, drag a wait. I'll go to operators. Let's say wait 4 to 6 seconds before we start producing sun. And I'm going to go to control, drag a repeat loop. I'll do repeat 20. And I'm going to make the sunflower become a bit brighter right before it creates a sun. So I'm going to go to looks and then grab a change color effect by, and I'll make it change color effect by 0.5. And also I'll grab a change brightness effect. Let's change it also by 0.5. And I'm going to go to control and grab a wait 0 seconds. Okay, so now if we just place down a sunflower, after 4 to 6 seconds, it's going to become a bit brighter. Just like that. Cool. And now we want a sun to appear from the sunflower. So to do so, we have to add the sun as part of these plants' costumes. So let's go to the sun sprite. Let's go to costumes. Let's copy this entire costume and then go to the plant sprite. And I'm going to create a new costume. And then I'm just going to paste the sun. And I'm going to call this sun. All right, now back inside of the code, we want to set clone type to sun right before we create a clone of the sun. So let's go to control, grab a create clone of myself, and let's go to variables and set the clone type back to plant. Awesome. And keep in mind, this is really similar to how the pea shooter shot the bullets. As you can see, it set its clone type to bullet right before creating a clone of the bullet. And also, I'm going to set the clone type of the pea shooter back to plant. So make sure to do that. Okay. Now after the sunflower creates a sun clone, I'm going to right click duplicate, take this part out, and repeat 20. And I'm going to change color effect by negative 0.5 and brightness effect to negative 0.5. And after that, I'm going to go to control and wait, go to operators, pick random, something like 16 to 20 seconds. So now let's create the sun clones. So we have to create a new clone under the clone type sun. So let's go to control, drag a when I star as a clone, and let's check if, go to operators, grab an equals, and check if clone type is equal to sun. Then let's just first go to looks and show it. And I'm also going to clear graphic effects, and I'm going to set its size to, let's say, 40%. And then I'm going to make it slightly transparent, so I'm going to set ghost effect to something like 5. And I'm also going to do the same thing inside of the sun sprite. So I am going to set the ghost effect to 5 as well in the actual sun sprite. All right, now back inside of the plant sprite, I am going to go to control, drag a repeat, and I'm going to repeat 10, go to looks, and change its size by 4. So the sun is going to be a bit larger once it spawns from the sunflower. And I'm going to go to motion, drag a change X by 1, and drag a change Y by 1, or actually -1. Okay, so now if we just try this, once we place down a sunflower, then after a bit, it's going to spit out a sun. Oops, and that does not seem like the sun. We have to make sure to switch costume to the sun costume. Okay, let's try it again. So we place down a sunflower. I'm also going to create multiple sunflowers. As you can see, it spits out a sun. Awesome. Now one thing though is that the sun should be in front of the sunflower, and also we want to be able to collect the sun. So first off, let's drag a go to front layer, and I'm also going to go to our sun sprite, and I'm going to drag this code and drag it inside of the plants code. All right, now we have this, and this makes the sun clickable. So I'm going to right click, duplicate this part, and have the if clone type is equal to sun. Then we want to be able to click the sun, just like that. And I also want the sun to disappear after a while. So I'm going to grab a repeat after here. I'll do repeat 4. And I'll grab another repeat. I'll do repeat 20. I'll go to looks, grab a change size by block. I'll do change size by 0.5. Go to control, grab a wait 0 seconds. Right click duplicate, and then change size by -0.5, wait 0 seconds. And then after the sun increases and decreases in size a bit, just for the animation part, then it is going to fade away and disappear. So after that, I'm going to repeat 50 and go to looks, change ghost effect by 2. So it's going to fade, and then we're going to delete the sun clone. So now this is all of our sun code, just like that. So let's try it out. And once we place down a sunflower, I'll place down a few, then it's going to give us some sun. And once we click on it, we get the sun just like normal. Awesome. So now we have a working sunflower. I'll add some pea shooters. As you can see, the sunflowers are giving us sun. Awesome. Now I also want to add some animation to the sunflowers when it's just sitting there. So let's do that. First, let's go inside of the costumes and go to the sunflower, and I'm going to select the line tool, and I'm going to drag a line just like so. And I'm going to select it, set its outline to a blank outline, so over here. And I'm going to drag the line somewhere over up here. So similarly, how we added the thing to the pea shooter, I added the same thing to the sunflower, so we have a bit of an animation once it's moving. So let's go inside of the code now, and I'm going to create a when I start as a clone. And let's check if. Let's grab an equals, and if the costume name is equal to sunflower, then we want to set our fisheye effect to, let's say, 5, and let's grab a repeat 10, and let's go to looks. Let's change fisheye by -1, go to control, let's wait 0 seconds, and then right click duplicate and change fisheye effect by 1 and wait 0 seconds. And one more thing, I want to put this around a forever loop. Okay, now let's try it out. So we have these sunflowers, and as you can see, they're sort of moving up and down a tiny bit, just like that. It's a pretty small detail, but if you look carefully, the sunflowers are slightly moving. Cool. So now we have a nice little animation for the sunflowers. And they are producing sun just like normal. So now the next thing I want to do is that I want to replace this lawn background. And the main reason why I want to change it is because, first off, I want to get rid of these lawnmowers. And second off, the new lawn image that I have is much better because it has more of the map. And also, I think it looks better. So let's go inside of the stage and go to backdrops, and let's just click on lawn 2. And now I'm going to click on the lawn and then start moving it and hold shift. That's going to move it just left and right. And I'm going to drag it so that it is around here. And just as a before and after comparison, this was before and this is after. So I think the new one looks much better, and we have none of the lawnmowers because we're going to be adding them later. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the original lawn background. But now I want to fix the grid positions because, as you can see, this sunflower is a bit off and the sunflowers over here are a bit too much upwards. So let's go inside of the grid position sprite, go to the code, and inside of this block, I'm going to change all of these positions. So I'll do -190, -144, -94, -41, 4, 56, 104, 150, 204. And for the Y position, I'll set it to 102. Okay, now let's try it out again. And the grid positions should now be updated. And now all the plants are in the correct positions, just like so. Awesome. And the zombie positions should also be updated, just like that. Now next up, I want to create a layering system because as you can see over here, the layering is all messed up. So to do so, let's go inside of the code and I'm going to first go to the plant sprite. And I'm going to create a new block. I'll call this set layer. And I'll add an input. I'll call this layer. And then make sure to select run without screen refresh and click OK. And I'm going to go to variables and create a new variable. I'll call this underscore layer num, just like that. And then select for this by only and click OK. Now I'm going to set layer num to 1. And then I'm going to go to control and drag a repeat until, go to operators, drag a not, and I'm going to drag a layer over here, drag a lesser than, so not layer is lesser than, and then we want to create a new list. So I'll call this sprite layer orders. And then click OK. So now we want to check repeat until not layer is less than item, go to variables underscore layer num of sprite order layers or sprite layer orders. And then after that, let's change underscore layer num by 1. And then we want to grab an insert and let's drag a layer and let's insert layer at underscore layer num of sprite layer orders. And lastly, we want to go to looks and grab a go forward by block and go forward by, go to operators, grab a minus, go to variables, and go forward by layer num minus 1 layers. So now this was a lot of complicated code, but what this does is that we can now use this set layer block inside of our sprite, and we can type in a number. So 1 is going to mean that the sprite is at the very front of the screen. And a larger number, let's say 100, is going to mean that the sprite is going to be pretty far back. And it's going to be behind any sprites with a lower number and in front of any sprites with a larger number. Now I'm going to go inside of this stage and under the when flag clicked, let's grab a forever. And I am going to go to events and broadcast a new event or new message. And I'll call this set sprite layers, just like that. And I'm also going to delete all of sprite layer orders right before this message. Now inside of the plant sprite, I'm going to go to events and drag a when and receive set sprite layers. Then I want to set the layer of the plants. So I'm going to go to my blocks and drag a set layer block. Now one thing though is that we have a lot of different clones. And these clones are all going to be in different layers, probably. So for example, we want the pea to spawn behind the pea shooter, and we want the sun to appear in front of the sunflower, and so on. So inside of here, let's drag an if else, and first check if the clone type is equal to plant. Then let's go to control and drag an if else, and then check if is placed is equal to no. So that means that we're currently placing a plant. Then we want the plant to appear on top of everything else. So we want its layer number to be pretty low, which means that it's on top. So let's say 3. Otherwise, once we have placed down the plant, we can make it go behind more. So let's say around layer 15. Okay, and I'm actually going to change this into an if else. So let's have an if else just like this. Okay, so now inside of the else, if it's not a plant, let's drag one more if else and check if the clone type is equal to pre-plant, which is the shadow behind the plant. Then we want the shadow to be, of course, behind the plant, which means that we are going to set layer that is behind the actual plant. So the number must be larger than 15. So let's say something like 20. Now I'm going to right click duplicate and check if the clone type is equal to the bullet. We know we want the peas to spawn behind the pea shooter once the pea shooter starts shooting. But we want the bullets to still appear in front of the plant shadow. So I'll put a number between 15 and 20, let's say 17. And lastly, if the clone type is equal to sun, we want the sun to appear in front of anything else pretty much, so I'll set it to 2. So now let's just try it out. If we place down a sunflower, and if we place down these plants, as you can see, the layering should all be fine, just like that. And I actually want the bullets to probably appear in front of the plants, which I think might look better. So I'm actually going to set the bullet layer to something like 12. So it's less than 15, so it's going to be in front of the plant. So now if we just try it out, then the bullets should be on top of the pea shooters, just like that. Cool. So now we have the layering for all of the plant clones. And now we want to do the same thing for every single one of our sprites in the project. So I am going to drag this block inside of plant icon. Now let's go to plant icon. We have this block. And I'm going to go to events, drag a when and receive, set sprite layers. Then I'm going to set the layer. Now I want these plant icons to appear pretty on top. So I'll make the layer number a low number, which means that it's in front. So I'll say 3. And that's it for this sprite. Now let's drag this inside of zombie. I'll drag this inside of zombie as well. Now we have our layering inside of the zombie sprite. And I'll make it set layer to, let's say, 10. So 10 is going to mean that the zombies are in front of the plants when they are placed, because 10 is less than 15. Now I'm going to drag this inside of plant selection, drag this inside of plant selection as well, and I'll set the layer to, let's say, 4. So that's going to be one layer behind the plant icon, which is what we want, because we want the plant icons to appear right on top of the plant selection area. All right, now let's drag this inside of grid positions. Or actually, we don't need this in grid positions because these dots are hidden anyways. So I'm going to ignore that one. I'm going to drag this inside of sun, this as well. And of course, we want the sun to appear in the very front of everything, or almost everything, because we want the ready set plant to be in the very front. So I'll set this to 2. And now I'm going to drag this and this inside of ready set plant. And I'll make this the very front of everything, so I'll set its layer to 1. And lastly, drag this inside of the sun counter, and I'll make the sun counter right in front of the plant selection screen, so I'll set it to 3. And now one last thing is that now that we have the layering system, we no longer need any other go to front or go forward blocks inside of any sprite. So for example, in the plant sprite, we have this go to front layer. We don't need that anymore, so I'm going to remove it. And make sure to remove all of them because otherwise some bugs might appear. So let's go to here, remove this from the pre-plant. Let's see, where else? I'm just checking anywhere inside of the plant sprite. Over here, we have a go to front layer, remove that from the sun. And that should be fine for our plant sprite. Of course, make sure to keep the one inside of set layer. Okay, now let's go to the plant icon sprite. Think we should be fine here. Let's go to zombies. Doesn't seem like we have any go to front blocks. Go to plant selection. Let's remove this go to back layer. Let's go to grid positions. We're fine. Go to sun. Let's remove this go to front layer. Let's go to ready set plant. We should be fine. And lastly, let's go to sun counter. And we also should be fine. Cool. And actually for the plant selection, I might make it go back more. So I'll set the plant selection layer to something like 16. Okay, now let's try it out. And everything should be fine. As you can see, the layering seems to all work just like normal. and we have some better layering. And also it is a bit laggy. That is because I'm recording while I'm playing the game, so it's usually not this laggy, but also it's just a tiny bit of lag. So yeah. But we have our sun and also the pea shooters, just like so. And we can spam pea shooters and place sunflowers as well and shoot down the zombies. So just to do the actual gameplay, I set the sun back to 0. So this is the actual game now. And let me just collect enough sun for a sunflower. All right, let's place one down. We have that little animation there. And it's giving us some sun. Cool. I'll place another one here. Okay, now we have our first zombie. Let's save enough for a pea shooter. There we go. All right, now it's shooting at the zombie. I'm gonna save up for some more sunflowers. There we go. We can collect the sun, just like so. Awesome, got the first zombie down. I'll place one more here. Okay, collect some more sun. Buy another sunflower. Okay, gotta place a pea shooter over here. So let me just get some more sun here. Nice. I'll place one here. And hopefully it destroys it in time. But right now our zombies don't eat the plants anyways, so we're fine. Okay. Another pea shooter. I'll place another sunflower here. All right. I'll place some more sunflowers just to get as much sun as we can. And we can buy another pea shooter. Awesome. And right now the zombies are pretty chill. There's not a ton spawning at once or anything. So it is quite easy. But of course, I'll be adding different types of zombies and harder levels in later videos. But for right now, it's just like this. Okay. As you can see, everything seems to work perfectly fine. Awesome. I can also change the zombie spawn rate, so I'll make it spawn every like 2 seconds. Let's have some more zombies here. So there we go. More zombies. That'll be more fun. Okay, now we got a lot of them, so gotta watch out here. Hopefully we have enough sun for pea shooters. All right. There we go. Awesome. And we are still taking down these zombies pretty easily. Sweet. But anyways, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe too if you haven't already. And again, be sure to check out my course on my website, Fuelvin Academy. Link is in the description below. And let me know in the comments below what you want to see next. But anyways, that's it for this video. See ya.